Hey guys, so since my foundation routine has changed a little bit since my last video, here is an update. I'm starting off with the Smashbox primer, the green one, to cancel out some of the redness in my face. Then the biggest change is actually this amazing MAC foundation, which they finally have in the proper shade. I believe it's shade 10, but again, that's gonna all be in the description box below. But it's finally like super pale, which works great for highlighting. I mean, it doesn't quite match, it's actually almost a little bit too pale, but it's perfect again because then I get to highlight and contour. So I'm just taking a little bit on the end of my beauty blender there and working it into my skin, just in the highlights of my face, and kind of blending a little bit outward. I know there were a lot of comments in my last video about how my foundation didn't match. I just wanted to address that real quick. It did actually match pretty well. I just had really bad lighting, but this MAC foundation is definitely better than the foundation I used in the last video. Once I've done doing all the highlights of my face, I'm going to take a little bit of the foundation as a base onto my eyes because my eyes have super dark rings underneath, so it needs a lot of layers to cover that up. Now I'm taking a slightly darker drugstore foundation and using that to cover the outside edges of my face and then blending that in towards the MAC foundation. I just took about one pump onto the back of my hand and applied the beauty blender from my hand to my face. Now the reason I use that slightly darker foundation on the outside edges of my face is actually to begin that contour. Now I'm taking my MAC Studio Fix Concealer in NC15. Now I know this concealer is actually technically slightly darker than the foundation that I just used, but that's okay, stay tuned because right after I apply this concealer, which helps again to cover up the dark circles and veins in my eyelids, I am actually going to go back over with a little bit more of the MAC foundation just to help even out the color. And now I'm just doing the basics and taking a bit more of that concealer and just using it to hide the, random imperfections that every person has in their skin. This is the step that I was talking about. A little bit more of the MAC NC10, I believe is the shade. Unless it's NW10. I don't remember. But I'm using that again to blend it out. And then of course my setting spray by Urban Decay. Now I'm using the Mercier setting powder. It's in translucent. I actually take it now on the beauty blender and I just tap off the excess like that and press it into the skin. This step is like crucial in setting your foundation and making sure that it looks flawless and it lasts longer and prevents from sweating it off and all that nice stuff. So here I'm just taking a large chunk of setting powder, putting it all over my face, dispersing it, and then blending it out. Here I'm just using my fingers to blend out the little bit of creasing that happened on my eyelids while I was waiting to add the setting powder to it from the concealer, and then quickly powdering that back up. Now I'm just going in with a bit of my Sephora powder foundation underneath my eyes and anywhere else that needs just a tad bit more coverage. This also helps to smooth out any kind of bumpiness in your skin or just uneven complexion. Now this part of my routine remains the same. I am taking the concealer stick that is much too dark for my normal skin and using that to carve out where I want my cheekbones to be, even though, they already are there. And my forehead, just kind of, contouring and adding more shadow to my face. One thing that I do, always do, is I take the concealer stick slightly above where my cheekbone actually ends because then it makes my cheekbones look a little bit higher and prevents them from looking like they're too far down. You know what I mean? So that the color doesn't blend too far down on the face and just look crazy. I think you understand. I use this teeny tiny concealer brush by Sephora because I just like being able to get down and dirty in there and be very specific about where I want the color to be. That's why I don't use a bigger brush or a bigger brush for blending, excuse me. Now, the same as ever, I'm using a little bit more of that bronzer, and again, just carving out the line of my cheekbone to show it off. Here is just trying to tell you guys again to start from the outer corner of your face, then work your way in, because if you start your brush too soon, the contour just won't blend out right and it'll look too dark and sudden on your face. So start from the outer corner and blend your way in. Now I'm taking a slightly bigger brush and I'm using this amazing MAC powder, and I'm using that to further blend out the contour and make it more of like an ombre effect on your face. This powder is so pretty. It has like just the slightest shimmer in it, just the slightest shimmer to add a bit of glow to your face. See how that blends it out from just being a harsh line to now more of a smooth transition into the hairline? Now, of course, my favorite setting powder ever. I'm using a couple dips of that onto my eyelids to create a glow there, and then using that to highlight the rest of my face. See how it adds that slight sheen or shimmer to the face, to the skin? And now I'm applying a bit of this corally orange blush by Benefit onto the apples of my cheeks. Here I'm taking a clean stippling brush and just using that to blend out all of that we just put on. No harsh lines here. And then we're done. I would just normally fill in my eyebrows after this, but y'all get the point. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.